blessings, friends of the forest. Hope all is well out there. Just wanted to take a minute, since I had Wi-Fi, to check in, see how everybody's doing. Feeling the power of all these retrogrades and the eclipse as a time to turn inside out. I feel like the eclipse is about the moon representing the inner, the secretive, the esoteric, the magical, and the sun representing the self, the presentation. This is how it's seen in astrology. And so the moon eclipsing the sun is like the unconscious, the repressed, the secretive coming to the light. And I feel like in a time when cosmically this is happening on every level, even we use politics as a metaphor for our life. We see that Donald Trump is being trumped. He's being eclipsed and he's being investigated and his dirt is being revealed. And I feel like it's time for all of us to allow our darkness to be seen and revealed. So I really resonate with all of you who are doing that work. Thank you for being willing to reveal yourselves. I also am willing to reveal myself. I am by no means perfect, and by all means open to discussing my inner contents. And I feel like that is the most exciting part of being a human, is to really turn ourselves inside out and to reveal ourselves. So thank you all for being wise as well as wounded, and for being willing to explore yourselves and to take away the defenses. And I feel like there is an oppressed feminine energy that's coming out into the world, and it has to be careful to not take on the contrary masculine. So the wounded masculine is of oppression and control, and the wounded feminine is of oppression and control. So those are both the same impulse energy. And I feel like instead what the feminine, the goddess coming out of the earth is about infinite compassion and showing by example and leading through love and realizing the children are suffering. And so for all of you out there who can embody that, this is what we truly need. We truly need to be softened by examples. And so whoever of you out there can hold that example, you will lead the way in the revolution. And I'm grateful for all of those in my life who continue to help me soften. Grateful for the past partners I've had who have helped me to soften and to show the chance to be self-reflective and to turn myself inside out. Wazan says, reveal ourself. That's a very interesting idea. Reveal the darkness. Love that idea. You know, Leonard Cohen has a quote which I keep dear to my heart. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. And only by revealing our wounds and seeing our wounds and sitting with our wounds can we be healed. And becoming whole is about realizing that we are half light, half shadow. And as we reveal the light of awareness into the shadow of our unconscious, that shadow of our unconscious goes from being a demon to a scared child who just needed a hand. And this is exactly how we need to go in, and this is the shamanic descent into the darkness and hold the hand of the wounded and bring it up to the light and heal it. And this is a process that we're all going through. This is the cosmic process. This is the process that will save us from a mass extinction, because we are the only species that are causing our own mass extinction. Instead of being victims of the environment, we are controlling the environment in a way. We are controlling the goddess, the body of the Mother Earth, in a way that is actually killing her. And if we can realize the Hitler in ourselves, the Donald Trump in ourselves, and continue to reveal it and expose it, then it cannot act without us seeing it. The enemy can only work its ways if it is not seen. The Nazis can only work hate if they're not exposed and known. So it is about exposing ourselves, turning ourselves inside out, vomiting our shadows into the world in a safe way. And this is something we don't have. This is something that shamanism, the shamanic institution, provides for our society. And we don't have that. We're building that. So thank you to all of you who help hold each other's hair while we vomit our insecurities out. And this is really the work. So keep doing that work and don't be afraid. You have nothing to lose except for your ego and your fear and your shadow and your insecurity. Everything else is pure. Even that's pure. And so don't judge the repressed and dark parts of yourself, because they're not you, and they never were you, and they were always conditioned by people who also were conditioned. And the conditioning goes back many generations, and we're here to stop that. But we're not here to stop that in an eye for an eye makes the whole world go blind. We're here to stop that by softening it. Only, as Martin Luther King said, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only love can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. So remember that. As Tree Child says, learn your history. And also learn your herstory. The lineage of the Mother Earth and the sacred and the divine serpent. So many blessings. Thank you all. This weekend I'll be in Bethlehem and Allentown, Pennsylvania. So if you're out there, please feel free to join. I'll be doing foraging classes. I'll be doing a suburban foraging class, as well as a foraging class in the woods. There's lots of mushrooms. I've just found some honey mushrooms for the first time, so come on out to that if you're in the area. And then I'll be at the Bucks County Healthy Living Festival, vending and teaching there, so come on out. Really appreciate you all. In Love We Trust says, to know where you're going, you must know where you are coming from. If you know your history, then you will know where you're coming from, as Bob Marley said. Super Pitted said, people have anger, hate, and ego, not going anywhere, but we can love, 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 focus on it. No sense in denying our shadows. Definitely. And we cannot hate our hate, and we cannot hate our egos. We have to soften them by love. The ego is out of hand because it was not nurtured. The hate is out of hand because no one was able to intervene and show softness. So that's the real disease. Eva Troy says, come to Canada. You're like the third person who asked me this week, and I'll love to come to Canada sometime for sure. I'll take the forage mobile up there, and I'd love to see the boreal forest, and as well as document the sad state of the tar sands and how they're cutting down the forest for crude oil, which is actually not even monetarily sane. So we're birthing out of the heroin addiction, which is the oil, the black, the darkness. We're extracting the blood of the Mother Earth, and now we know the CEOs of that, and they are being purged, and now we can see them. That's the shadows coming to the light. And now we must take them down like Care Bears and show them unconditional love as an example. That doesn't mean not hold them accountable. It means create accountability, but don't lose the battle by becoming your enemy and projecting hate. Super Pitted says, where am I right now? I'm outside of New Paltz, New York. I just did a tour, a weekend of classes in Kerhonkson, and somewhere around there, upstate New York, and it's been beautiful. Found a lot of free camping sites, GPS pinned all kinds of beautiful places, so really excited about that. Feel free, if anyone has any questions, ask, and I'll be happy to answer. Thanks for listening. The Gunks, yeah, the Shaolin Gunks, that's where I've been. and it's been really amazing to just feel free to camp. They have in the Shawangunk region, which is a certain kind of stone, which is actually a iron-rich quartz, so the stones are pink. For shortcut, called the Gunks, as Super Pitted says, and there's beautiful state parks all over the place where you're allowed to camp for one night without a permit. So it's been amazing, just been living in the woods, foraging for mushrooms, cooking on a fire, and bathing in streams, and it's been really wonderful. Life, you know, the ebb and flow of life is so sacred and so beautiful and so short, so make the best of it. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Anyone else have any questions? Feel free to ask. Jesus Buddha. It's a Yogi Hari song, I'm trying to remember it. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Super Pitted says, miss the deep woods. Yeah, the Northeast is beautiful. Deciduous forest is like nowhere else in Utah right now, and it's dry for me. Good work. Many blessings, Super Pitted. Utah is amazing. It's definitely a different world, and those short stubby trees, those short stubby junipers and everything is definitely a different climate, but you can probably find a lot of caves, which is really powerful. Cosmic Babe says, how did I get to where I am today? One day at a time. Yoga, meditation, self-reflection, therapy, psychology, esoteric studies, herbalism, magic, studying the plants, communing with plants, consuming plants, breathing deeply. It's the best answer I can give right now. But it depends. If you have any more specific questions as to which aspect, you know, I try to tie in yogic philosophy, Jungian psychology, Western alchemy, herbalism, shamanism, and indigenous perspective. That's kind of where I'm encompassing the teachings, Ayurveda as well, Tantra as well. Clover Soul asked the best question ever. Okay, J. Marie, I'll definitely be down in the Pine Barrens, headed down south to go harvest pawpaws. So when I'm after the Bucks County Festival, I plan on heading down to Virginia. So that's the end of September. I'll book a tour. Maybe I'll come down to the Pine Barrens, and I definitely want to hit up the beach plums, which are amazing, and then go down south for pawpaws. So hopefully I'll see you down there. Maybe I'll stop at the Pine Barrens on the way. Clover Soul Healing, it says, how would I define the divine masculine? And I would say power, strength, boundary, will, with nothing to prove. The simple beingness of that. That's how I would define the divine masculine. And I feel like in that state, it can trigger women. I found that women are about the ebb and flow, generally. I mean, this can easily be said as feminine and masculine, which we all internalize in different ways. We are all a composite of feminine and masculine in different ratios. So the feminine is about that ebb and flow, the ability to flow like water. And the masculine is like the ability to stand like a rock. And the rock doesn't have to prove itself. And the water does not have to feel threatened by flowing around that rock. And may that be the definition of your relationships out there. Et laudet voyage. It's not a question, but thank you to share your time with us, to open our eyes on many subjects. Well, thank you, friends, for allowing me the chance to communicate. This is a new world where we have a technology that can do this, and I pray that the Mother Earth allows me to utilize it in the best way possible and to set an example, and that's what I seek to do. Cosmic Babe says, any books on shamanism that I recommend? One of the most impactful books I've ever read is called Well, first of all, Mircea Eliade has Shamanism, the Archaic Techniques of Ecstasy, which is a profound book. And then also there's one on shamanism that I read very early. Once I went to Barnes & Noble with my friend when I was in high school, and we found a Native American Studies section, and I said, why don't you pick out a book for me randomly, Rob? And he went, this one, and he grabbed it. And little did I know it would be one of the most influential books I've ever read, and it's by Joan Halifax, who is now a Buddhist nun, and the book is actually called, I'm not remembering, but it's, if you type in shamanism and Joan Halifax, you'll definitely find it. And it's just anthropological accounts of shaman and their initiation and their practices, and it's incredibly profound. Also, if anyone goes on my website, returntonature.us, and you go in the links section, there's a suggested book list there. I have basically all my library, well, I should say a part of my library written out, so anyone can always check that out, as well as lots of articles on foraging and herbalism there. Holistic One says, how did you get the word out there so well? How did you get people to follow and support you? By the grace of God. Just slowly teaching. You know, I've been teaching, plant walks since 2010 approximately. And I just feel like doing it, doing it and getting out there and exposing myself and using social media as a tool for communication and making videos on YouTube. And I don't know, I feel like when we know our purpose and we're not afraid to fulfill it, God will carry us. And that is what my life example, I pray, will be. I dropped out of high school. I have no GED. I have no formal education. I've spent a lot of time with nature directly and taking workshops with everybody that I possibly could, and reading and studying on the internet. And I feel like if we can be authentic, then people will feel that. And we all go through challenges of our authenticity and really seeking if our heart is pure and if our intention is clear. And that's a really beautiful process, and don't be afraid of that process. Continue to refine your prayer to Mother Earth to make you a Lorax. And that's my life, and I've surrendered to that and stepped into that. And every time I do, I find that as soon as you step into the water, there is another stone, and you can step on that one and just keep playing lily pad, and nature will guide you if you are unafraid and you are systematic. I think that's really important too. It's not like I just assumed and expected. Test the water, be gradual, and you'll be supported. Mother Earth needs you. She's looking for Loraxes. The plants and the mushrooms are seeking channels to speak their wisdom, and that's what I try to do. So keep meditating and opening your heart to Mother Earth, and she will continue to guide you and teach you. And that's the most important thing I think that's possible, especially in these times. Any other questions, friends? Feel free to ask. Thoughts on psychedelics? Oh, what a big question. I believe that all plants speak, some of them yell. The ones that yell are necessary in some time when you can't get the message. And all of the plants are psychedelic. Everything alters consciousness. McDonald's, TV, Instagram likes, all of that creates chemical changes and alters your consciousness. Meditation is psychedelic. So I believe that when you feel called by the plant teachers to ingest their bodies in a shamanic and sacred way, you should continue to medicine quest, refine your intention. Don't eat psychedelics often, but when you do, go deep and be as by yourself as you can, and be in the most safe and sacred environment that you can, and set your intention and have your altar and have your shamanic tools and keep your prayer and be willing to die and lay down, and don't get in your head that you need to go somewhere, or drive a car, or walk down the streets screaming. And I believe only natural psychedelics, so only plants and mushrooms, are what I would consume. And there is some amazing research as well about psilocybin containing mushrooms being neuroregenerative in low doses, so that's amazing research as well. So I've done some of that microdosing, and I eat mushrooms about once or twice a year. Salvia divinorum is one of my allies, although in the last 15 years I've probably smoked salvia 20 times. I smoked DMT once. I went down to the Amazon to drink ayahuasca once, and I believe all those experiences need a lot of integration as well as meditation and yoga to ground. And it's not always about hearing the same message over and over with more colors, but it's about when you make a pact with a vegetable that you have to listen to what it says and try your best to live what it teaches you before you engage it again and again. It's not about how colorful and psychedelic the message is, it's about how you humbly integrate that message. And I believe psychedelics are a powerful key for transformation, but they are not to be abused, and they're not to be really done in a social setting, like at a party, or things that will draw your attention outward. They are to draw your attention inward and listen to the cosmic voice. The teacher is behind the veil. Kai J. Marie says, do I do any one-on-one walks or fermentation classes? I always am down for private mentorship. If I'm ever in your area and you'd like a private class or private mentorship, I do $1 an hour, $1 a minute. And you're always welcome to ask me. I'd love to, take people out. Plus, I have the Forage mobile, so I can pick you up and bring you to parks. And I plan to do a lot more of that, and make that a part of the tour as I continue. So if anybody's ever interested in private mentorship, please be in touch at any time. I can do it through Skype and email, or if I'm in the area, in person. So please feel free. The teacher is within you. We just have to unlock it in time. And we have good days, and we have good days with challenges. Anyone else have any questions? This one dread just feels so funny to me. Can't stop messing with it. It always ends up sticking out. It's a weird one. I don't know why. Yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardhanamurvarukamiva bandhanan mrityormukshyamamrutat. Om Trayambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardhanamurvarukamiva bandhanan mrityormukshyamamrutat. Om Trayambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardhanamurvarukamiva bandhanan mrityormukshyamamrutat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. That says, oh, the three-eyed one, please pick us like a ripened cucumber from the vine when it is our time. It's a mantra of Shiva, of death, of overcoming death. It's called the Mrityunjaya, which Mrityu is death and Jaya is victory. So we chant that for the victory over death, and of course that means little deaths, physical deaths, and big deaths, or death of another. So we can pray for someone else like that. Mehdi Jones says, do I ever have classes or walks for children? Well, children are always welcome in my classes, and I also do private or classes for children as well. And if I'm ever in your area and you'd like to gather a group of children to do a class, absolutely would love to. So please, always, everything at Return to Nature is a people-created and people-supported endeavor. It's just me, myself, and my friend Lauren, who helps with the herbal goods. Also, by the way, please get in touch with us at herbalcsa at returntonature.us. We have lots of tinctures, herbal products, all kinds of things. So any donation or support towards Return to Nature helps to just continue to tour, travel, and teach. So and do these webcasts and all this. So please consider buying from us. I have reishi tinctured and turkey tail tinctured and ashwagandha and burdock and red clover and wormwood and mugwort and, you know, lots of tinctures, and I'm wild crafting as I travel. So I just finished a goldenrod tincture fresh. I've been doing all these fresh tinctures now. Heal all. I did a wintergreen leaf tincture. So if you're ever in the need, trade or purchase, please get in touch. Jay Odyssey, hope you're doing well. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. In all the three worlds may there be peace. Sarlar says, thoughts on living and dying. Well, we're all here for a temporary time. And the biggest existential crisis we must face is that no matter what you do, your body will die. And the goal is to realize that you were never the body, that you as a soul have incarnated here for a quaint moment in time, and you have borrowed matter. The etymological origination of matter is matar, and before that is mata, so the Mother Earth. You have borrowed pieces, materials of the Mother Earth to encompass your spirit in flesh, which is a temporary vessel for some reason. And your immortality is the legacy that you leave behind. You will have to give up your body, but the change and the transformation that you offer to this world is what your legacy will be, and that will be immortal. And so we should live every day as if we're about to die, and do what you would do if you were about to die. And hopefully that means serve the world and wake people up. And we should meditate on our death and contemplate our death, contemplate the death of everyone around us, and realize that everyone we love and know is going to die, including our parents, our children, and they may die before us, or we may die before them, or we may all die in a mass extinction. And it's our goal to find peace and acceptance even though that's true. And that really is the core of meditation. When you remove all the layers of personality and ego and he said and she said, it comes down to, I'm gonna die. And we can only become at peace with that if we meditate upon that and face that and cry and feel that. It's a beautiful thing. It's a painful thing. And yet it's inevitable. And if we all realized that, we wouldn't live perhaps so egotistically and materialistically. So those are my thoughts on living and dying. Die in peace. Live in peace and die in peace. Try to make peace. There's also a time, I think, in the Jewish tradition where soon is the desire for wishing for resolution with those we've hurt or offended. And so I'm feeling very called to do that. Thanks to Angie, thanks to the lessons she's brought to my life. So I'm humbly asking all of you to forgive me for the times I've been harsh, egotistical, arrogant, aggressive, angry or mean or judgmental. It is my goal to release all those aspects of myself to the light, and only when we see them within ourselves can they begin to be mended. And love all those parts of yourself, because they're all wounds and they all serve a purpose of protection of your fragile child. And if we go into the wounded child of ourself and we nurture and heal that part, then we need less protection. So remember that. Much love, friends. Sending lots of love. Please pray for your families, your friends, the world, the earth. pray for the Mother Earth to wake us all up while we still have time to do it. See you soon.